Morning. We're going to do problem number 23, page 297. It involves finding all 6 trig values using the unit circle and based on the angle that they give us, which is 150 degrees. So let's all check this out. All 6 trig values. Now, a 150 degree angle would appear in quadrant 2, probably looking something like that right there. And because 150 degrees would come this way. All right, so that's 150. So that makes this angle here 30. Now, to review how to get, let's go ahead and set this up. So we'll say sine, cosine, tangent, and we'll skip some space here. We're going to run into some simplifying issues probably. Cosecant, secant, cotangent. Remember, those are the reciprocals of the ones right above them. All right, so this is the 150. So its reference angle is 30. So to determine this point out here, like we were doing last week on the unit circle, we need to know the two sides. We need to know the green side, that one, and we need to also, let me find another color like red, something sticks out good. We need to know that side. So we need to know the green side and the red side. As far as the unit circle goes, we know that the hypotenuse is 1. We color code all this. We know the side opposite the 30 degree angle is 1/2. So we know that. And we also know, hopefully, and I will do it right here really fast, that this side right here, we call it A. I'm just going to call it A on our Pythagorean Theorem. Plus 1/2 equals 1. Now that's 1/2 squared equals 1 squared. And when we solve this, like that, a squared would equal 1 minus 1/4, which is 3/4. 3/4, and then the square root of 3/4 would equal radical 3 over 2. So this red here is radical 3 over 2. So you got to have that. Now, there's one thing that I almost forgot, and that's negative signs. All right, what do we know here? We know that this sign here is negative because it's going in the negative x direction. It's going out this way. So this is, of course, I mean, we can put these points in here if we want, but this x value would be negative radical 3 over 2 and 1/2, even though we don't really need this part of it to get this. We're going to do that anyway. So watch. To get the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which would be the opposite side from here would be 1/2 over the hypotenuse, which is 1. So the sine of 150 would be 1/2. So that's 1/2. We can put a circle around that. The cosine would be adjacent over hypotenuse, which would be negative. Now that I'll go ahead and do it. A over h, and adjacent would be this radical 3 over 2. Radical 3 over 2 over 1, which is just radical 3 over 2. That would be the cosine. The tangent would be, this is going to be a little bit more painful, this is opposite over adjacent. So it is O over A, which is 1/2 over negative radical 3 over 2. All right, let's do that in blue here. So we got 1/2 divided by negative radical 3 over 2. Let me carry that right down here. So that's 1/2 times 2 over radical 3, negative. So I flip. Whenever I divide by fractions, I flip and multiply, it's taking the reciprocal. That cancels, leaving me 1s, and I have 1 over negative radical 3. All right, so or just, another way to do this, a little bit cleaner way to do this, put the radical 3 here and just stick the negative sign out front. So the value of it's negative. And then we simplify like so. And that becomes radical 3 negative over 3. So that is the answer that I'll put right here so that you can kind of check this out again when you need to. We'll double check that to see if that's right, and it is right. So now let's do the reciprocals. I'll do all those in green. The cosecant would be the reciprocal of this. That's 2. The secant would be the reciprocal of this answer here, which is 2 over radical 3. And I think you see where I'm going with this. You multiply by radical 3, and that would be, what, 2 radical 3 over 3. Final answer there. Okay, and I just discovered we made a slight little issue here. This right here should be negative. That should be negative on top, which would make the value of this negative. So when we do this, this is negative out in front, which will make the value of this negative. Okay, so these two are negative. Now let's go back over why. It is because this value is negative because it's moving that way on the second quadrant. All right, now the cotangent would be 3 over, I'll put the negative sign out front, radical 3, and then we multiply everything by radical 3. So that would be negative. Go ahead and slap the negative down first so you don't forget it like I did. That over 3, and then I think you can simplify that. So the 3's will cancel, and you will get negative radical 3 for a final answer. This is going to take some practice, some attention to detail, and we're just double checking all the signs of these answers. The tangent should be negative, the cosine should be negative, the sine positive, and we are done. This is the kind of thing that we're going to do tonight for homework. Have a good one.